Assalamu alaikum. Welcome. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome. All right, we're going to get started. And this live is about healing hexes and curses that have been in your life. Everyone, please hit the like button. And the first thing that I want to say is that when I heal the level of hexes and curses that were in my life, I did not realize that it was people that were close to me. And the first thing that I did was to take a holy bath. And that started to identify those people when they were getting sick. I started to take holy baths. I started to pray from the Holy Bible first, and then I started to pray from the Holy Quran, after I converted to Islam. So there were a couple of things that people had, sent to my house. They had sent negative energy to my feet. They had tried to poison me through my feet. And, like I say, and I will never stop saying this to you guys, I had to, cleanse myself and my land in a couple of the properties that I stayed in. I had to cleanse myself from that negative energy. Hello, SSK Satya. I hope that this is, I hope that, no, this is not ISIS. So, but, you can leave. Anyway, we're having some issues when we have problems with people sending curses to us that we love. Anytime that, a person will send a negative energy, the evil eye to you, they will send black magic or spells or higher spirits to you, then you have to set a boundary with that person once they have been identified. You have to make sure that when you identify that person and know who it is, that you're praying against that person. You're praying that their manipulation and their malevolent negative energy is not carried out against you. So, a way that I was able to do that and keep people from coming onto my property and trying to lay tricks down for me. Brawlbot, hi Brawlbot, fact. Okay, well, please hit the like button. So, I used at the time when I had a staff and I had harmed myself. I had broken my leg, and I used my staff to make a circle around my house in order to set that barrier between me and those persons, those neighbors, or those family members who were trying to send negative energy to me. And I had to end up dressing my yard. I had to end up dressing my house so that these people were not able to, even come near me. They couldn't come to my house. They couldn't come on my land. I saw several neighbors at the time, and I talk about this in a lot of my videos, where on my camera, I had saw, several neighbors, throwing nails, under my car tires, trying to sprinkle things in my yard. So when you're healing those kinds of negative energies, where those persons are sending hexes and, curses to you, where they want to manipulate you, where they want to take over your financial power, where they want to take over being you. Hi, Roll 04, Wise Up. Hi. Well, I got that stick talk for him. I got that stick talk, Bird. You're absolutely right with that. But it was very necessary to make a circle around your house. And in many cases, that creates a barrier between those persons who are trying to send negative energy. And I've had to use many different kinds of cleansing rituals, not only for myself, but for clients, in order to cleanse negative energy from them. In order to cleanse negative energy from me, it is impossible to be a spiritual healer, a Reiki healer, and deal with people, other people's negative energy. It's impossible not to cleanse yourself afterwards. So that is a must. You have to do that so that your energy remains intact. Also, you can also have I like to wear copper, because copper will let you know if you picked up anything negative. It will turn brown if you pick up anything negative. So, I like to wear copper. I've had these for a very long time. One of them, ever since I was a child. So, I like to wear copper. As long as they're pink looking, orange looking like this, then you haven't picked up any negative energy. But when it turns dull and discomfited, you picked up something. I'm trying. Thank you so much. I'm keeping up the good vibes. Thank you for that inspiration. So, one of the ways that we want to make sure that we're cleansing ourselves from negative energy, and you already know, I'm already going to use the, hey, assalamu alaikum, row 04, wise up. One of the ways you want to use is the Four Thieves vinegar. And like I say, I make my own Four Thieves vinegar. You can use that in a bath. If somebody has been trying to attack you, the Four Thieves vinegar is the best way in order to remove that negative energy in a hurry. But it's not the only way, and you'll have to keep using it. Hello, BLG, building. Hello from Iran. Nice to have you here, Iran. And so some of the ways that I have been cleansing myself from negative energy from people who have tried to attack me, some of the ways that I cleanse my clients from people who have tried to attack them over time is to use the Four Thieves vinegar. That's the first thing that I use. But the progressive methods that I have to use when I have to dress the yard, so that these people will not keep coming back. Sometimes I like to use stones as well. If you're from Iran, then why are you calling it a curtain? So you must not be who you say you are. So get right. You can get right or get ghost. And I wanted to always make sure that when I'm working with people, the hexes and the curses, where they have become sick, they have the fingers, and they have the scaliness on their feet or on their hands, where you can tell that they have been attacked by hexes and curses, and it has become malignant on their body and in their body. You always want to start with something like the Four Thieves vinegar, so it can cleanse out that negative energy. We're going to cleanse from the inside and out. It is not a permanent method, but it is a very progressive way in order to remove that negative energy inside of the body. With a bowel movement, it removes the negative energy, anything that has been attacking the person, to poison the feet, to poison to stagnate the feet, to stagnate your money, to stagnate your relationships. I had that problem, with my third husband. The Latino lady in my community did not like me, and she wanted the financial energy that I had, because for some reason she thought that she could just take whatever she wanted. She had been doing this before, and she came on my porch, took my husband's shoes. And so, he and I started to have problems in our relationship. When you have those types of hexes and curses that are coming from people, threshold moment, her relationship with other people that cover up their faces. I would really like to have more relationships. Yep, third husband. I would like to have more relationships with people that cover up their faces, but it's not a lot of Christians that go by the holy book that cover themselves, and you don't have to cover your face like I do. I choose to do that. So, it's a choice. So, moving on from that, when you're cleansing yourself, from people stealing things or taking personal possessions from you, you have to cleanse that negative energy. You can cleanse that negative energy with different ways. The first way that I like to do that is with, when it's outside on my property to keep people away from me, I'll make some black salt. When you make black salt, well, I can make my own. For you guys, I can send you some black salt if you need some to keep negative neighbors, enemies away from you, narcissistic people, anything of that nature. When I make that black salt and make sure that it is on my property, they can't come and take my personal items. They can't cross that black salt, because it sends that negative energy back to them. So these are some of the ways that you want to cleanse yourself from hexes and curses that people are intentionally trying to send. We make sure that, when we're using these items, that we don't have the intentions to attack people, but we can cleanse ourselves and break those curses that they have sent to us. I like to use these methods because they are the most progressive. Oh my goodness. I don't even know what threshold moment is saying, but we can go ahead and remove that person. I'm sorry, guys, I have to remove this person because I just saw some of the things that they were saying. So, one of the ways that, I like to also remove hexes and curses from me is, again, by carrying stones. When I carry stones with me, especially the black tourmaline, I also carry anointing oil with me whenever I have my stone, and I anoint my stone so that wherever I go, I prayed before I left the house, or wherever I'm going before I leave to go anywhere, I pray, I prostrate, and then I take my stone with me so that any negative energy, it'll soak up any negative energy that someone is trying to send at me. If someone is trying to harm or send, the evil eye at me, it will not be able to come back with me into my house, into my presence, and it will not attack me in the way that some of my clients have been attacked. And I decided to do this live today because I have so many people who have contacted me and say, every time it gets around the holidays, it gets chaotic. I feel a lot of oppressive energy. And, what can I do in order to make sure that chaos doesn't break out in my life? So, I have certain gifts that I send to certain people. You can order those from me, and I'll send you your gift right to your front door in order to remove negative energy and protect you and your family from those kinds of attacks, from people who don't want you to have joy, who want to rob, steal, kill your joy. So we want to make sure that, we're using the methods that we have that are in the holy books. We want to make sure that we are cleansing our environment of any kind of negative energy that has been sent to us, as a curse. It could be sent as a child, that you're under a curse, that your family didn't want you to ever get married or have children, or, ever leave home. Whether you're male or female, they may have wanted you to be the Cinderella, or stepchild, living, in the attic where nobody ever sees you. Whatever kind of curse you may be going through, you can use these rituals in order to cleanse yourself and break these curses. Now, last but not least, when you use these kinds of rituals in order to cleanse yourself, you don't want to forget about using your incense. I use my incense. I use my oils on my incense. It automatically will cleanse the negative energy. Once I'm taking my holy bath, I'm cleansing my environment. Before I pray, I'm cleansing my environment to break those curses. I'm letting, the negative energy know that it has to go back to sender. So, a lot of times, I'll talk about sage and salt will not break certain curses or hexes. But it definitely, if you're putting it in an incense, it will definitely help you with the sage to, get rid of those lower level, demonic entities, toxic people that may try to come around you and attach themselves to you, especially during the time when you're going on holiday. That's when they try to attack. That's when they, want to see you have a hard time. They want to see, your car break down and you're not able to go on holiday. They want to see that you get laid off. So, you don't have the money, to spend on your family. So you want to make sure that you are cleansing yourself and breaking these curses. It's going to take some time. It's not going to, be overnight. So if you're thinking that, you're going to do something for a week and it's over with, then, you're sadly mistaken. You sometimes it takes months. In the case with the client that I'm working with now, where someone has tried to poison his feet, he's having problems, financially, and he has been on SSI. The other young lady that I have, she's having problems with her weight because she has eaten some negative poison into her system. You always want to make sure that you're, giving it the right amount of time in order to see the progress of your ritual working for you. When you feel that energy lift off of you, when when you're able to move forward in life and you don't have those oppressive feelings, when that health problem has been healed, you don't have the IBS anymore. You don't have the breathing problems where someone has tried to shut you up. You're not, afraid to go outside. Where somebody don't want you to be seen, and they want to steal your joy. So you want to make sure that you give that the right amount of time, because that takes some time to cleanse. You might need 6 months, on all of those. So I've been working with a lot of my clients, those 2 clients, for 4 or 5 months now, and they've seen a lot of relief. But by the same token, that negative energy has not left, because they still continue to have, financial problems, lack of finances, losing their job, losing their relationships. So, we are working on removing those negative hexes and curses that cause all these problems, these jinns, these little shayateens that people have hired, these spirits that people have hired in order to attack you in those areas. Sometimes they can become malignant and they can be stubborn to remove when they've been there 20, 30 years, and this is why we have to go, and make sure and give it some time Give it some time. Once we did our cleansing, once we, commanded that spirit over our incense, once we removed that negative energy from our feet or our hands, whatever someone was attacking, we want to give it some time. Give it, at least a month or so, 2 months, in order to see if that same pattern is going to reoccur with you. So that's what I like to do. Sometimes I will book people for a year in order to see them, so they can just, come back and, get in touch with me if they're ready to go through another phase of cleansing, or if, this spirit is stubborn. So I work with people a lot in order to remove this type of negative energy from them. These hexes and curses, because it's not easy to remove. It took me years in order to remove negative energy, from my life, from my relationship, from family members and neighbors. As I was saying, my neighbor, sent me a negative energy, but when I cleansed that negative energy off of me, and that spirit, that negative spirit, that hex or that curse that she called herself walking backwards around my house in order to send something malevolent to me, it went back to her. And, all of her cars broke down, her husband left, so you have to get that negative energy back, that you're sending out to people when somebody hasn't attacked you. You have to get that back, and it doesn't matter if you unintentionally gave somebody the evil eye. If somebody cleansed that negative energy off of them, and you're the first person to call them, and you're the first person to show up, and they understand that you sent them the evil eye, or their child the evil eye, that negative energy goes back to you, whatever you was, contemplating in your mind. So, I hope that all of you have understood this. Please hit the like button. I thank all of you for showing up. And, obviously, a lot of you have been going through these problems. You can, reach out to me on my website. And if you need these types of cleansings, I can send you the cleansing. We can do a life coaching session. If you want protection, healing the negative energy, breaking curse, spell breaker, curse breaker, anything like that to cleanse the negative energy, before the holidays, I can make you a package, a gift package, and ship it right to your front door, to cleanse your house, to cleanse your land, to cleanse any kind of negative energy that may be sent to you or attached to you, over time. So a lot of times people like to do these types of things when it's coming up to the holidays, because, like I said, that's when these people like to attack you. If you want to, you can, ask me any kind of question that you would like. You can leave it in my comment section. If you want to know something specific, you can request a topic. The topics are $25, so that I can air your topic on my channel, and get the word out there, whatever you want to request, whatever you want me to talk about. So, you can make sure that you have that option. We have a lot of new subscribers that have been getting in touch with me, who have been, having issues, who are loving some of the topics that I've done. I really appreciate a lot of you who are the supporters, and, that show up for me each and every time, each and every day. I enjoy your feedback. So yes, please keep doing that. And one of the things that I wanted to add is that when I do the breaking the curses, when somebody has sent poison into somebody's feet, then I like to use the Four Thieves vinegar in their water. I'll use a mint cleanser in their water with the Four Thieves vinegar. And, I'll use a type of anointing oil after I dry their legs off, and I rub their legs down with that anointing oil. So, that negative energy has nowhere to go. There are also people that I deal with, and when I deal with those people, it's extra when people have wounds on their legs or their feet, because I have to, get special equipment in order to, deal with those type of people. But I used to be a caregiver, so I know how to, deal with wound care. And I have to, wrap people's legs up, and use a salve, and wrap their legs up in order to remove that negative energy. And sometimes that negative energy can be caused by, diabetes, and different kinds of diseases that have been set in on the person over time by not attending to that negative energy that they have eaten, or it has, been poisoned through their feet. So, I really wanted to give you guys that understanding. There have been different kinds of clients that I have, attended to in order to remove hexes and curses. But in some cases, when it has set up on the person, for a very long time, and the person has started to burst open. I've had clients where their stomach has burst open, because that negative energy was not removed. A lot of people, again, they think that a person is going just eating up things, they're obese. No, that's a malevolent energy, and we're dealing with that in America right now, where we haven't healed and called our power back from those people, and set those boundaries with those people of the past, the colonizers. And so that negative energy of, the lesser food, the lack of food, we haven't called our power, and that is why we continue to go through those kinds of negative transitions with these people, until we start, all of us have some kind of food in our house. I don't care if it is, some mint that you're growing. I don't care if it is some spices that you're growing. You should be able to have something in your house that you can trade with your brothers and sisters. So, we're not going through this where we have a lack of food insecurity. We have to call our power back in a lot of different ways. And again, I'm breaking curses with our sisters and brothers who've had that negative energy, curses sent over them from the colonizer, from back in a time that they wasn't aware of, but their energy is aware of it, and they picked up that negative energy. And I'm helping them to break these curses. I'm doing different kinds of gifts. I'm doing the black tourmaline and the Florida water, cleansing gift for the season for the men. And I'm doing for the females, I'm doing the love attraction for the female, or the money attraction for either one of you guys who want to order any of those gifts. And I'll send them to your front door, and both of them will have the black tourmaline inside of those gifts to remove negative energy, and to usher in the good, and attracting bath, and a reversing bath. So I hope that you guys have enjoyed this live. Please don't forget to hit the like button. Please go over this live. You can, reach out to me, leave a comment for me. Like, share, and subscribe over all of my platforms. You can book your live sessions. You can reach out to me on my website and order, any of these gifts that you would like to have for the week, for the holiday, in order to remove negative energy. Please reach out to me, book your consultations. That's the, most cost-effective way to get in touch with me if you need to talk to me. I'm HighOracle, Reiki spiritual healer. Assalamu alaikum.